Um, and yes, it's true. We are live. Oh, Kelly, thanks for following. So glad to see you. Great. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Attack the Pantry. I am Jenn de la Vega. This stream is a deep dive into ingredients, cooking techniques, and recipes to help you cook for yourself during quarantine and the rest of your adult life. Last time on the stream, we talked to Eric Silver, El Silvero of Multitude Productions, about Jewish food, eggs, and zhuzhing up takeout. It was a very lively discussion, and I am apparently bathed in God's light because I am allergic to coconuts. You can watch all of the past clips here on my channel if you click on videos. The entire archive is located at youtube.com/JENNDLV. Make sure to subscribe there. And great news, I'm a Twitch affiliate now. Yay. If you have Amazon Prime, you can gift a subscription to your favorite creators every month or use actual dollars to subscribe to creators. You can click on the purple button below the video that says gift a sub and you'll get a little crown next to your name in the chat. Ava, thank you for joining. Danelle, thank you for subscribing for your 9-month streak. Amazing. Shmas, glad you could join us early. Few bad dudes, how's it going? Oh, and Shannon is also in the chat. Oh. Before I get started, I just want to say a word about the news today and thank you all for being here and being supportive. I've seen your tweets and retweets and check-ins. I really, really, really appreciate them. There's been a lot of Asian American violence in the country over the last couple days, and it has been painful, but I am really lucky and happy to be energized and alive and coherent, because I know a lot of my friends are taking some time off and not able to power through. So I'm glad to continue my show and just show some Asian joy and competency on the internet. And I really just appreciate your continued support, everybody. So thank you. Please keep amplifying resources and do some homework so that we can live better as a community here in the world. But anyway, I have this wonderful guest here with me today. Hello, who are you and what do you do?
Hi. First of all, thank you, Jenn, for being here. We love you. Yay. And my name is Shannon. I am, firstly, Jenn's good friend.
Yes, number one.
Number one. Secondly, I am a neuroscientist. I'm also a comedian. I'm also a cast member on Fun City Ventures, now Float City Ventures, soon to be again Fun City Ventures.
Yes.
And yeah, that's who I am.
And you're an amateur baker.
Oh yes, I am an amateur baker. I've gotten much more into baking due to, the panna cotta that we're living in.
The panini.
The panini. I love calling the pandemic different things.
Same.
Especially when they're food related.
Yes, so you are a very multifaceted, very talented person, and I'm very glad that you're here, my friend. So you've answered the question of how we know each other, but how long has it been? Has it been maybe a year, or has it been 2 already?
I think it's been 2 years.
2 since we've met.
At least 2 since we met, which is so crazy to think about because I was looking at my phone,
as you do. Yeah.
As you do. Is it was just like, because I have all my photos for the past 5 years on my phone. I know you're supposed to remove them to save memory, but I just don't. No. And I was looking back and I was like, and it was us in the studio.
Right.
And it was
that's right.
2 years ago. And I was like, oh, whoa.
It's true. Yeah. But I think time is weird for us because we didn't actually release those episodes until 9 months later.
Right. Exactly.
We had just been hanging out in this sweaty studio for 9 months.
Exactly. Which is really fun.
I know.
So by the time that everyone met us via podcast, we were already close friends.
Yeah. very, very gelled together and sweaty together. And I thought, it was unpleasant at the time recording in a tiny room with like trying to have like 8 laptops on a table,
Yes.
on a very small table. But I miss it. I miss it very much. And I miss being in the same room as you.
I know. I if we could only go back to those small spaces soon.
I
maybe.
know. My goodness. Kelly in the chat says global paninos. Yes. And Eowyn, I'm happy that you made it. I know that it's not the ideal time for you. Let's see. Pandemie is just French for soft bread. I see the joke there. Pain of me. Very good. Very good. Thank you. Hello, everybody in the chat. How about we do a snack check? I believe, how do I do this? I forget how to do chat commands. It is exclamation point snack check. If I can spell it right. Let us know if you're snacking on anything. We love to hear it. Oh, guess what? I didn't realize, Kelly, you are my 300th follower today.
Whoa, nice.
I mean, just, when I started streaming a little under a year ago, I had like 10 followers. Growth. That's growth. I've been growing the channel.
Yes.
So exciting. Yay. That makes me so happy. Yeah. It's all good, Kelly. I'm not shaming you about it. I'm just celebrating you. Oh, Eowyn's cracking open a bottle of Jameson Reserve for St. Patrick's Day.
Oh.
I think most of us here in the US are probably canceling it.
Yeah.
Or at least the Asian Americans are canceling St. Patrick's Day today to go grieve. But I have made a lot of St. Patrick's Day food before. And so it's actually a great eating holiday for me. Shannon, do you have any favorites that you like to make generally?
I've made soda bread, right? Soda bread is a thing. That's all. I remember this. I remember that. So my name is very Irish, right? So people assume that I'm Irish, but I'm actually not Irish at all.
What? I'm learning something new about what?
My last name, Odell, is actually English. It doesn't have an apostrophe. And my first name, my dad just named me Shannon, not really thinking about how Shannon Odell is an extremely Irish name. I mean, I'm mostly Italian, like a little Spanish and a little English. And I don't know, it's just like very funny to me that like everyone's like, oh, Shannon Odell, the most Irish girl. It's like,
you're like, no.
No. So I do remember growing up, I would go over to a friend's house who was Irish on St. Patrick's Day and have corned beef and cabbage, and I used to hate it. But now those are the kind of flavors that I love.
So good. So hearty. Yeah. And I think it's the cabbage sometimes, if it's cooked too long, it can set off the smell. So I try not to overcook my cabbage.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, if you're smelling cabbage all day, you might not be in the mood.
No. Oh, Few Bad Dudes, thank you for cheering with the bits. Oh, that is so nice of you. You get 100 bits there in the chat. Celebration. Yes. And talking about SantaCon. Oh, SantaCon. SantaCon, St. Patrick's Day. I hope that it's not continuing as normal in Manhattan. I hope people are not bar crawling for St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah. Are bars open? I have no idea. I've not left my
bars are open with limited capacity now.
Whoa.
Actually, there are a few new regulations that I was going to share with all of you. Actually, this is the next segment of the show. We like to show off what people have cooked this week, and then any kind of food news that's kind of in my brain. But I'm going to share my screen right now. Shannon, you will still be visible in the corner when you speak, so don't worry, you didn't just disappear. But look at how cute Shannon is on this flyer. Oh my. Okay, so you can see my screen. Yeah. Let's check out what people shared this week. And if you've got something to share, I love cheering you on. We're here to encourage you, but also help you if you had a fail in the kitchen. So if you messed up, take a picture and be like, what went wrong, Jen? Oh my God, help me. So let's see. Our friend Carly Monardo from Rude Tales of Magic sent me a photo of the egg sticker that I mailed out with my Patreon. I feel like, Shannon, you have one too somewhere in your house.
Yes.
But Carly put it on a new hard drive, and I was like, egg drive.
I love that.
Yeah, I love seeing where people put their stickers. This was a limited mailing, or limited edition if you saw me in person. But this was for my Patreon. So hopefully when we hit like 100 something subscribers there, we can do another run of a different egg. My friend Danimal Cannon is a musician, and he shared this with me on Pie Day. Pie Day
Yum.
can also mean pizza day.
Yes.
I love
oh my
that.
gosh, that looks delicious.
I can see that there's little bits of cornmeal underneath so that you can slide it on and off when it's done. But here is the cooked version of it. Oh yeah.
I got very into making me and my partner got very into making pizza crusts during the pandemic. And we found that I think we were really like resistant to it at the beginning, but it's just like we had to put our oven completely like as far hot
Up
as
high,
it would
yeah.
allow. Yeah. It's just like turn it all the way and just put it in. It won't be too hot for the pizza.
It's true, but it also is a signal to you if you cleaned your oven or not.
Yes, because it's like
just smokes, like, oh crap, I'm running around the house with a dish towel going to all the fire alarms, going like, okay, no, and then I go rushing, opening all the doors and all the vents. It's just a common occurrence in my house. So
very true.
Try to get better about cleaning the oven before I embark on any high temperature situation. It looks like Danimal did not have that problem with his pizza.
It's delicious.
Let's see. Eric, who was a guest last week, after our conversation, went to Acme Fish in Greenpoint. If you don't know, there is a warehouse of cured fish distribution happening in Greenpoint. They have this thing called Fish Friday, and then you can pre-order and then just do curbside pickup of bulk cured salmon, sable, eggs, any kind of cured fish product you can think of. They've got it, and you can like pick it up, and it's amazing.
I'm gonna have to check this out. Whoa.
And he's got like a Peter Pan donut, as you do.
Yeah.
When you stop
in Rome.
When you're in Greenpoint, you have to get a Peter Pan donut. I wonder if he ate the donut with the pastrami.
All right.
Maybe. I'd eat it. I'd totally eat it. Happy birthday to Sam, who sent this butterfish. Looks like it was fried and scored on both sides. Very simple, very nice. And may I shout out to one of my favorite utensils, the fish spatula, which is down there at the bottom. Do you have one of those?
Oh, I don't have a spatula, especially for my fish.
It is so versatile, but it is long so that you can get underneath the whole length of the fish. And that it still has the scoring so that any oil can drip down.
I need to get myself one of these.
I prefer them over just the little short spatula that you use for pancakes, because you could get under the whole thing with this one.
I love it.
Very good. Very good. And then Sam also made a fish curry with some Japanese curry that I gave her a long time ago.
Yum.
Happy birthday to you, Sam. Happy birthday, fish curry. Steph the Bard, who GM'd a D&D one-shot that I did a while ago, sent along this slow cooker pork shoulder with a chimichurri sauce. Steph said that there was a little bit of a bitter aftertaste, but I think we sussed it out on Twitter that the garlic in the sauce was maybe a little over browned and lent a little bit of a bitter taste, but otherwise successful with the pork, and it looks so luxurious.
Yeah.
and nice. Beautiful.
Is that a common thing that if you let, because I'm always afraid whenever I'm doing my like what are those called? You know, your onions and garlic
The
aromatics.
mirepoix, yeah, the aromatics.
When you're cooking them, because they're such, you know, like that point where like you want them to have a nice brown, but you don't want them to go over. I'm always freaking out that I'm going to miss the spot, especially if I'm making tomato sauce, because it's like if you dump the tomatoes in, they'll stop, you know, browning. Is that a common thing that like just going over if you get that bitter taste in your food?
Yes. And it matters the order in which you add the aromatics. Onions are most of the time first. Because they have more moisture and can stand to cook longer if you went over.
This is gonna help me with dinner tonight because I always just I cut them all and I
put it all in.
I put them all in.
So no matter how well you uniformly chopped the garlic and the onion, they have different water distribution and different cook times. So the onion is always first, garlic for like up to 30 seconds or a minute alone. So if you're adding it to something that's moist, it can stand to be a little bit longer. But as soon as you start seeing those edges start to brown, you've got to either move it, saute it, or start adding other things.
Right.
Yeah.
I love it.
Sorry, just catching up here in the chat. Chris Olson, good to see you. I had a craving for cookies last night, but there's low on supply, so just made basic ass sugar cookies that are just lumps that could barely qualify as a cookie. Hey, I mean, did it serve the purpose?
Exactly. Even a bad cookie, yeah, even a bad cookie is still so good.
You're getting a lot of huge same here in the chat about throwing things into the pan. I mean, it's fine as long as you know you have everything else that's ready to go. Like, it's fine. You won't die. But if you do note that bitter taste, that's probably why.
That makes sense.
Tris works at Community Bookstore in Park Slope and sent along this 500-piece puzzle with the caption, "The best puzzle," which is all just ramen.
Oh, that's fun.
I'm not really a puzzle person. Are you, Shannon?
I am a puzzle person.
You are?
And I love puzzles. I hate that I can't really do them here in the city because I don't have any surface to put them on besides the floor. Yes. And I did do a big puzzle in the beginning of the pandemic, but I was really annoyed because I was always on the floor and I was like, I'm too old for this.
Yeah, I actually have a house with no coffee table. I have a dinner table, but we use that for working and other things.
Exactly.
So, yeah, I think, I don't have a coffee table. If I had a coffee table, I would probably do those 3D puzzles.
Yeah.
Like a
nerd. I've never done one of those, but it's
fun. And then this one was cute. It wasn't necessarily food that someone made, but there's this artist on Twitter that goes by the handle best roll ever. And I just thought this was very adorable spam fried rice, like a very nice illustration of comfort food.
I love
it. Very cute. Give this person a follow if you are on Twitter, friends. And then also they did a chicken porridge, which in different cultures are called different things. So like congee or congee. And then in my family, we call it arroz caldo or hot rice. And I have a recipe in my cookbook if you have a copy of it, friends, and you can check it out. But that's what people have sent in this week. So if you'd like to be featured next week, please do tag me on Instagram or Twitter or DM me your photos, and I will happily put it in this cute little folder and show it off to everybody and be so proud of you. Just want to cheer you on. God. What have I been doing this week? I don't know, Shannon, if you saw this, but
I saw it.
No, I got 15 pounds of mushrooms.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, yeah, you saw that. So I've just been slogging through trying to cook it all. I preserved a lot of it in the dehydrator, but now it's just every day I got to try to figure out something different to do with it. And I found this vegan blog called K33 Kitchen. And they had this amazing Kentucky Fried Chicken vegan mushroom recipe. And it blew me away. First of all, it's very crispy. It didn't get soggy after sitting for a while. And then I made a po' boy, which is Louisiana or Southern sandwich. It's usually fried oysters or fried shrimp in this way. And then I got some lettuce and some remoulade, which is a spicy mayo situation. And so I really enjoyed this sandwich.
This looks so yummy. I love po' boys. I have a question for you, Jen.
Yes.
When you are frying something like mushrooms, do you use just like a Dutch oven, and do you temperature your fry oil?
It depends on what you're doing. So for me, right, for this was a batter fry. If it was small pieces and still like dredged like in flour and egg, I would still maybe do like a shallow pan fry, like a deeper cast iron, so I didn't have to use so much oil. But if it's like big pieces that need to float and to flip, like if it was like a donut or like corn dogs or something like that, then yes, I would use a Dutch oven. At least 2 quarts of oil there, 2 to 4 depending. But that's such a commitment, you would have to keep frying for like a week, and then your skin will be like, why are you doing this to me? But yes, that's a great question about.
And do you temperature the oil at all, or?
I'm kind of lazy. I generally have a feeling for how hot things should be, but if you are new to deep frying, then yes, you should be measuring the temperature of your oil. This was about at 300, 325. I've been frying for so long that I just know what it is.
You can, from a mile away, you're like, that's free. That's 325.
Well, there's a trick too. If you don't have a thermometer for this, if you have any bread laying around the house, you could just cut a cube and throw it in as your tester. And if you see how fast it browns and you're like, oh, no, it gets all black, you're like, oh, no, that's too high.
Right. Oh, that's smart.
Yeah. So you don't waste the thing that you're going to be having for the meal. So it's one little trick. Sorry, I have the chat on my phone. I just want to make sure that we're seeing. Yes. Kelly also does not have any surface space for puzzles. Cry. Is it true that puzzles nowadays have twist endings? Ava says. What? Like the picture? You don't know what you're making and it just surprise.
That would be impossible because I'm when I do the puzzle, I'm staring at the picture the whole time.
I know, right? I don't know. What if it had like an AR animation, like if you put your phone on it after you're done? That would be cool. I don't know.
Cool.
Shmas has a tip here for the deep frying. Wooden spoon or chopstick trick is also good for checking if it's hot enough. So you'll see that if it bubbles or not when you put it in. Oh, hello, welcome, Abominable Mystery. I backed a Kickstarter with a twist ending puzzles. If you have the link to that, please share it in the chat, because I have no idea what that would be like. That's crazy.
The puzzle becomes alive. That's the twist ending.
It moves in.
Yeah.
It's your new roommate. I've been skateboarding for a year. I didn't realize the anniversary is on Monday, so it's been really fun and a good exercise. And Shannon, you'll appreciate this. I started making science reels about the physics of skateboarding.
Yes, yeah. I love that.
Yeah. So I have a video about centrifugal force, and today I filmed one about friction.
Nice. I love it. Yeah, I mean, skateboarding is nothing if not physics.
All physics. And it is so much more complex than people realize. Just the simple act of knowing friction and why your skate shoes are specifically made for the sandpaper like board is so fascinating.
Yeah.
But you'll see those go up all over Instagram every week.
I love it. I can't wait. Science is in everything.
Science is so in everything. This is what I was talking about. Actually, this just came out. It's new requirements or new protocol for caterers. So this affects me. I haven't been able to cater events and haven't really been comfortable with it. But Cuomo just announced new health and safety protocols. Wedding venues, catering venues are restricted to 50% capacity with no more than 150 attendees per event, which still sounds scary to me. All attendees must have proof of recent negative test or proof of immunization prior to the event. So this is a weird logistical thing that they're putting on caterers to manage, which is not cool.
No.
Not cool.
Yeah.
So
what?
I hope over the next couple of months that tools emerge for us to be able to track this besides my Google Docs.
Yeah.
How do you verify? There is no
Right.
agency besides just having the card, but honestly, there's no way for me to really verify if that card is real or not. So that it's scary. You have to do sign in now with contact tracing, which is pretty standard for all the bars that are opening right now. It's like sign a spreadsheet, your number, what time you arrive, that kind of stuff. Venues must notify local health departments of large events above social gathering limit in advance. So this is like an informal permitting, because we already have to file permits for the beer and the safety and the insurance. So this is another administrative hurdle that I have to start managing. Masks will be required at all times except when seated and eating and drinking. Ceremonial and socially distanced dancing allowed in designated areas. I only have one wedding for this year, and it's in October. So hopefully by then things have calmed down. And I don't have to have a clipboard and go to every guest.
And wait, are you in charge of socially distancing the dancers? Are you in charge to be like 6 feet?
It's on me and the wedding coordinators. So yeah, so very much how the film industry has had to adjust to these new rules. There is a new job that has emerged, which is a COVID compliance officer. So TV shows and movies now have this one person whose job is to spray down the bathroom and be the where's your mask, that person. And so hopefully I think we will hire a production assistant who will do that for us. But this is like big news for caterers like me. So hopefully I'll be able to start planning for next year and get my system in place.
And I can imagine being a COVID compliance officer at a wedding is so different than like on a film set. On a film set, like everyone's there for work. So you would think people are more likely to be compliant. At a wedding, it's like everyone's drinking. I've seen people at their worst at weddings. And so
dude imagine what my life was like before COVID. As a caterer, there are things I've had to deal with that you shouldn't tell the public, but it's like yo, tip your caterer.
Yes. Tip your caterer, tip your COVID compliance officer at your wedding.
Tip everybody mega lots of money. Oh, okay, got it. Catching up in the chat here again. Abominable Mystery. Hi from Fun City Trivia Team. Pataler Pamor, by the way. Yes, y'all always pick the best names for our trivia. Yes. Hi, Brandon. Good to see you. Thanks for coming in. Eowyn, you are so right. Caretaking more than catering. I've definitely written about this for a few magazines, how I'm also part therapist, part goat herder. But my main job is to feed the people. So there's a lot going on with catering. It's very complex, but glad to see you all here in the chat and listening to me talk about work, which I am so glad that I will have again sometime this year. But moving on, here is lettuce wrap that's been fortified with ground mushrooms. So it's like ground pork and then also ground mushroom.
Oh, wow.
I'm like trying to think of like different ways so I don't get sick of all the mushrooms, like sneaking them to every dish. It's very fun. What? I'm sorry. Oops. Don't do it. What's this? tuna sandwich. Eric Silver, my guest last week, kept talking about tuna melts. And I was like, God damn it. And so I had a tuna sandwich and then a tuna melt. I don't know if this is the right photo. There it is. Yeah. Tuna melt with a layer of ground mushrooms under the cheese.
Yes.
I keep trying to get rid of the mushrooms.
Oh, that bread looks really good too.
It's very hearty, but I have to like alternate all the carbs that I'm having because I just feel like a brick. My stomach feels like a brick. This is deep fried, the Kentucky fried mushrooms sliced up and then put over pasta. Ooh. Just all sorts of things. More mushroom. Late night snack. This is literally midnight snack last night. I torched one slice of cheese onto a piece of bread, and this is mushroom bacon.
Okay, that is a good snack.
It's a good snack. It's a very good snack. Didn't have to turn on the oven either if you have a blowtorch in the house.
If you happen to have a blowtorch flying
If
around.
you're Jen and you have a blowtorch, you could just, casually torch toast. And then I thought this was really fun. I think wedge salads are always too much. Like I've never finished a wedge salad, which is iceberg lettuce wedge with like blue cheese and crunchies and bacon. So I was like, how about we make it smaller? And I just do a slab, like a little steak slice that's only like this big. And I did a buttermilk dressing with maple cheddar and more of those bacon mushrooms. I finished the whole thing. It was great.
Yeah, that looks really good.
Yeah. I'm trying to go back to my 90s appreciation of iceberg lettuce.
Yeah. Right? I know iceberg gets a bad rap, but
it does.
It's got a texture that can't be beat sometimes.
Really, you really cannot replicate it. Exactly. And I know that it's flavorless, but it's like a boat. It's a boat of flavor, my friends. Oh, yes. Kodiak is here. Oh, great. Glad to see you. Lots of our Discord showing up.
Yay.
Oh, Brandon says, what is an oven but a large blowtorch? True. If you put on the broiler and all the way up, for sure.
Yeah.
All right, Shannon, you sent me a bunch of things. Is there anywhere you want to start?
The most recent thing I baked was the blood orange.
Okay, yes. We have two variations.
Two variations. So that one I made last weekend, and the darker one.
Stop it, Jen.
And then the lighter one I made in January.
Okay.
And I didn't realize how different the colors were until I took pictures of them. And I'm guessing I maybe bought different varieties of blood orange, or does it have to do with the season? This is more of a question than a statement.
Sure. Wait, okay, so they were both blood oranges?
They were both blood oranges, as far as I know.
No.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can see that it is a little darker here in the bottom. Mm-hmm. But yeah, they can vary. They can be I'm used to seeing them really dark, like in the other one. But I wouldn't have really been able to tell if these were blood oranges unless I really squinted at it.
Just exactly.
Or like a grapefruit.
Right. Yeah, they were blood oranges because, I'm guessing because they weren't huge like grapefruits.
But it's true. Yeah. They can have, there's a lot of variation in vegetables and fruits. Like we can have purple carrots. So why not lighter blood oranges?
Right. Yeah. And so that was really fun. And I can't tell if they tasted different. I changed a lot of the different techniques the 2 times. So this is a recipe from Claire Savitz's Dessert Person cookbook. And the first time I made it with the lighter oranges, I used just like, so it's an olive oil cake. So I used just like the olive oil that I cook with, like my Whole Foods olive oil, which was good, but I could definitely, it had like a little bit of an aftertaste.
Yeah, some olive oils do. Yeah.
So then for the newer one, the darker red one.
The darker one.
Yes, I went and I got olive oil, Frankie's.
Ooh.
Olive oil.
I know where that's from. Yeah.
Yes. I live like down the street from that restaurant. And so I got their olive oil and used it in that cake, in that version, and wow, I could taste the difference.
Yeah. Oh, so cool. How are you liking that book? You were like the 5th person to mention it to me in the last week.
This is what I'll say about it. I think it's really great if you want to make a dessert that's like you're going to go out and you're going to buy the specialty ingredients that you need for that dessert. For me, I tend to like cookbooks that have more like that are baking cookbooks like that,
Projects.
like they're projects. Yeah. And like so it could be a little bit inaccessible in terms of like, oh, I have to go out and buy this ingredient that I will maybe never use again because I need it for the one recipe. So if you're thinking about buying it, consider that. But I mean, the only recipe I've done, maybe I've done 2 recipes, and this is one of them, and it was really good. But
yeah, it's beautiful. I love that you did it twice also. Catching up here in the chat, Chris says feels like Subway is a big part of the iceberg decline. That's funny. Different blood types. Thank you, Schmas, for that. Blood types.
Very good.
Brandon says exploration in blood orange. AON AB positive blood orange versus O negative blood orange. Good medical joke. Thank you. Thank you. And Hufflepunks, glad to see you here in the chat. Different color carrots make me unreasonably happy as well. All right, where should we go next here? Shannon's cooking adventures. This one I was there for. This is the nachos. Kind of nachos.
There. So this I remade the version of the nachos that we made during the stream. So this is the second version of the nachos, which I made the same exact way. So I made the queso, I made the guacamole.
Ooh, all from
blue
scratch.
Corn. Yeah, it's over blue corn and it's got olives, which I think are very necessary for nachos.
Okay.
And when I get nachos and they don't have black olives on them, I'm like, I don't know about these nachos.
It's not very common, actually, in California at least. It's not very common.
I don't know what it is about.
It's like a pubby bar, bowling alley kind of nacho.
Yes,
baseball games also.
Yeah. Oh, but you know what's a question that came up, which I kind of had a disagreement with my partner about, is that I like putting the sour cream on before it goes in the oven so the sour cream gets hot. And he was like, whoa, that's wild. Why would you do that? So was that a smart idea or a bad idea? I mean, I like it hot.
Personal preference. It's absolutely personal preference. I can see the benefit of putting it in the oven because it's not a cold glob that you have to pick at. Because when it's cold, you have to sort of like dig with your wrist. But when you do heat it, it does break down, the lactic acid. It's not holding its structure anymore, so it's going to be a little bit more goopy. But if you do like the warm feeling of it, then yes, by all means, bake it with the nachos.
Yeah.
Are you a monster and bake the guac, or do you put it on after?
No, I'm not a monster in that way. I did not bake the guac, but I did bake the sour cream because I don't know. I really like hot sour cream.
You see how I was like not judgmental about the sour cream, but absolutely judgmental about the guac?
I mean, you can be judgmental about guac should not be going in the oven.
I do not like the feeling of warm avocado in my mouth. No, I don't like that. Aowen, you'd be surprised. There are people who bake guac. You'd be surprised. Dude, I swear. But I love a nacho. I was really happy we did nacho stream. We should actually do it with the rest of our crew sometime.
Yes.
Because we did all Fortunate Mares. All the ladies of Fortunate Mares.
It was so fun.
Yeah, I loved it. Good memories. And I like that you do things twice, that you like to revisit your recipes. Because I don't. Yeah. I tend not to.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Unless it's for work.
I guess that's part of your work is revisiting nachos, not nachos, revisiting recipes over and over and over again as you test them. So
yeah, it gets tiring.
Understandable. Yeah.
Okay, so baking.
So this is baking. This is the chicken pot pie. And So I made that's half shortening, half butter crust that I made, and then the inside is just chicken pot gloop.
So yeah, it's like a gravy-ish situation, carrots, peas, all that cube chicken. Your crust looks like crisp on the edges.
Yes. I think overall, after I took it out, I think it actually could have used a little bit longer in the oven. So what I really need to get is one of those Crust Savers. What are they called? Where it goes around the crust of a pie.
Okay, yeah, so it doesn't over brown the edges.
Yes.
I don't know the actual name.
Yeah, I think it's called a Crust Saver or something like that, as silly as that is. And I really need one of those because I like, especially in a chicken pot pie, like the bottom middle got a little sad and soggy,
Oh, you had a soggy bottom?
I had a soggy bottom.
Oh, no.
But, overall, it didn't really matter because chicken pot pie is good no matter what the consistency of the crust is.
I didn't know there was an appliance for saving the crust. I always just do a ring of foil, but that's not very easy when the thing is so hot.
Yes. Yeah.
So you just making a crown outside of the oven and waiting like, okay, I'm going to put it on.
Exactly. And I've done that before, but it's always become like this crazy thing because like the oven opens and there's like, I just feel like there's wind happening.
Yes.
As I put the crust on, the thing on, and then it's blowing out. And then I'm like, ay.
Nuclear Eagle Fox has a question. Was this a 2-crust pot pie? So it has an underneath?
So it has an underneath as well. Yes. I think the recipe did not call for the underneath, but I was like,
I need it.
I need it. And the recipe I have for pie crust makes 2 anyway. So
I like that you did the combination of butter and shortening because the pure shortening has this very particular oily flakiness to it. And I think cutting it with the butter gives it a little bit more savory bite. And it browns in a nice golden way too.
Yeah, I found that it's much easier to work with the half and half crust than when it's fully one or fully the other. Like the fully butter crust, I find that it is really flaky and falls apart really easily because you're putting in the butter really cold and just I just always feels like there's not enough liquid to put it all together. But with the shortening, it kind of makes it more gooey. But if it's melts, if it's all shortening, then it just kind of cannot get that kind of flake because you don't have the butter creating those air pockets. So I find half and half is the best.
We had a confirmation from Kelly. My mom does the thing with the tin foil. Cool. Nice. And Nuclear Eagle Fox says, my only pie crust hack is using vodka for half of the water.
I have heard of that before.
Cool.
And I've never tried it though, but maybe I'll have to.
Yeah, I guess it makes sense because vodka evaporates so quickly in the oven, and then you would be left with the pocket of butter pastry. Cool.
That makes total sense.
Very, very cool. Thank you for that tip. Very helpful. You also made some sourdough bagels.
Yes. This was from earlier in the pandemic when I, along with 100 Americans did a sourdough starter.
I did not.
So then I had the sourdough starter, and then I was obsessed with putting the sourdough starter in everything. I still have the starter. It's sleeping in the fridge. I feed it like once a month. I was feeding it like every other day when I was using it, but now it's sleeping and I don't use it. But
I'm glad you kept yours alive.
Yeah, it got really good at the end, so I really didn't want it to go to waste because in the beginning it really, I don't know if it wasn't active enough for something because all the breads I was making were kind of a little bit sad. But then towards the end it was really going, and we used the starter for our pizza dough too.
So cool. I mean, it's like a pet.
Yeah.
Let's see. Shma says, I gave up on mine. I kind of regret it. Oh, you can always start again. Yeah. Ava's sourdough phase was years ago. It was too much to remember to feed.
Yeah.
Oh, we got some insight here from Miner486. Welcome to the chat. Vodka also doesn't develop gluten. It keeps the bread short.
Ah.
Cool.
Very cool.
I love it. I love it when we have more facts in the chat.
Yes.
What did you put on the topping here?
Okay, so this is, so it looks a little burnt, but it tasted really good. It's just like, I think it was like onions and garlic, everything that would be like in an everything bagel. I just put it on for the bake portion of making the bagels. So first with the bagels, it was an overnight sourdough bagel. So like you kind of make the dough and let it rise in the fridge overnight in their bagel shapes, and then you boil it. And then I like dipped it in the like chopped onion and garlic and salt, big chunky salt and stuff. And then for the bake portion, let it just, it got a little dark, but it tasted good.
To serve the purpose. It served the purpose. You still ate bagels. Sounds so good. Hufflepunk says, my sourdough died. Maple syrup is the current quarantine task. Wait, maple syrup?
Whoa.
You're tapping trees? Is that what you're doing? Oh my. Shma says, these honestly look a little like cookies and cream, which would be brave.
I mean, it's something I would do.
I mean, there are sweet ones. I've seen like a French toast bagel before.
Exactly.
And this last one, this knocked me on my ass when I saw it. I was like, holy shit, this is like a British Bake Off level.
It is because so every Christmas we make a Yule log on Christmas Eve. And I've been tasked with making the Yule log for the past like 10 years, I would say.
So you know some things.
So it's come with experience, you know, like in the beginning when I would make it, we didn't have the jelly roll pan. We didn't have like any of the things that you really sort of need in order to make all the parts of it. But now I feel like totally equipped to do it. Yeah, it was, so this is all the way from Christmas Eve, and it's equipped with, I got to see my mom, and so those are her little like candles in the background that I used to like decorate the back of it.
And this, okay, well, let's rewind. What is a bûche de Noël? Like, what is a Yule log? Like, its parts, like, what are they?
So it's a like a sponge cake that is, and the inside is I actually used a whipped cream kind of inside, and then there's a ganache on the top. So how you make it is you make, you know, like I think it's a whipped cream meringue filling, or maybe the meringue's on the outside. I don't know the words. But it's a very light, basically the frosting in the inside is really, really light. Because you're going to get a lot of it with each bite. And the cake itself is made in an interesting way because it uses so many eggs.
Really?
Yeah, I think the cake itself had 8 eggs in it.
Yo.
Yeah. So I think, I'm assuming that's what helps it be such like a bendable cake. So you basically have to take the cake out when it's really hot, and you have to roll it in a towel. To kind of let it know the shape that it needs to be in it, and then it cools in the fridge, like in its rolled up shape.
Like curlers, hair curlers.
Exactly. And then when it's cool, you have to kind of unroll it in order to stuff it with the filling. So that can be a dangerous process. And then you roll it back up, and then you do the icing on the outside. But yeah, there have been, but the nice thing about it is that if you make cracks, so it's going to crack no matter what, like the cake is going to crack. You just cover it with frosting and no one will know.
Yeah, true. And yours looks different from all the others I've seen. They're usually like brown logs with like fungi, like little meringue mushrooms on it. So like yours is a different tree.
Yes, you can do it like different. So I think I like doing a chocolate cake. I like it to be kind of like a yodel.
What? A what?
A yodel. Have you ever had yodels? They're like Little Debbie.
Oh, they had a different name. Okay, yeah. Is it a ho-ho or a?
Oh yes, a ho-ho.
On the West Coast, yeah, well, ho-ho. Okay, got it.
I don't know. Yeah, ours were called yodels, but they're also ho-hos. Yeah, so they're the chocolate cake with the like really creamy vanilla filling. So I like to try to take this really like recipe that's like supposed to be very sophisticated.
Whatever. We love it here. We love it like that here. We're not gonna insult you or your cake. It looks gorgeous. Whatever. Catching up here in the chat. Hufflepuffs is literally tapping maple trees. They got 10 taps. That's
whoa.
You're gonna have to explain this to me another time. Chris, oh man, tapping trees is so fun. How many of you have tapped a maple tree before? Like, I've never done that. Y'all live near some outdoors.
We have to, that's a new project. Get Jen to tap a tree.
Oh my God, I would love it. I would love it so much. Aowen got mad into fudge making for the first lockdown here. That was your sourdough. Cool. Whoa, 10 to 11 gallons of sap so far. Holy shit.
Wow.
Kelly said, OMG, that boosh. Aowen said, that's fantastic. And Baking Beans, welcome to the chat. Nice to see you. Wow, you would get the Hollywood handshake and Star Baker for this boosh to Noel.
Wow.
Shannon.
Thank you so much.
We got to get Shannon a little badge that says Star Baker.
Yes, please.
Kelly's aunt uses a basic whipped cream as the filling with just a dusting of powdered sugar on top. Cute. Yeah, Hostess versus Drake's by Hostess. Oh, so silly with the brands. Oh, wait, I can come to Canada and I can tap trees there. I will after I get my second shot next week.
Yeah.
The world is my oyster. I will be tapping your trees left and right. It's not a maple tree. I'm tapping it.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you, Shannon, for sending all these photos. Like, it was so cool to like rehash all of these, because I was talking to you as you were doing all of these things throughout the year, and so it's great to go back and see what you've learned.
Yes.
I'm gonna stop sharing now, as you can see our big heads, and I can see the chat again. And as a reminder for all of you here in the chat, if you'd like to be in my little photo folders, you can tag me at Randwiches on both Instagram and Twitter to be featured on this stream next week. And next week is a big deal because it is our 1 year anniversary clip show. So yes, I'm so excited. We're going to have a little bit of happy hour and just revisit some of the great lessons that we've had on the chat, our great laughs. Shmas has a good idea. Let's get Jen and Shannon a travel show.
Yes.
Both of us are pretty well versed with on-camera work.
Let's get us a travel show. We'll talk a little science. We'll talk a little food.
We'll make you laugh.
Yeah.
We'll
do a little role playing on the side.
Sometimes we'll have bits.
Yeah.
Jennon, thank you. That's our ship name, Jennon.
Yeah.
Or Shanifer.
Shanifer.
My full name is Jennifer, so Shanifer. Okay, so let's talk about Shannon's, like, the thing you spent the recent last chunk of years doing. And you had just graduated last year. Yes. And actually you were part of a unique class of students that had to go through graduation online.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Just very fun to get to sit in my robe, my big, the PhD regalia, which is very
poofy.
Extreme. Very poofy, very extreme, and get to just like kind of sit around in my kitchen.
Oh, we got another name from Nuclear Eagle Fox. Our new ship name is Odell Vega.
Oh, that's good too.
That's so good. That's very good. We gotta make a logo, Odell Vega. Oh, yeah. Hufflepuffs, thanks for subscribing. So glad. Contributing to the Shanifer travel. Yes. You all are just so supportive. I appreciate all of you in the chat. So good. But let's just talk briefly about just your journey with neuroscience. I mean, you spent many years on it. What, when you were younger, compelled you to pursue it?
Yeah, great question. my journey into neuro is kind of a windy one. I think I love science, I think from a very, very young age. I always say the first job that I said I wanted to be was a paleontologist.
Mm.
Which is sometimes I don't know if it's because I like dinosaurs or I like the word paleontologist.
It's a good word.
Yeah. But I kind of came from this a character trait of me is that I ask a lot of questions.
Yes, you do.
I'm always asking questions. And so I think that's kind of naturally I went into science because I always need to know everything. It's something that I've noticed during pandemic because my boyfriend is like, "Why do you think I know the answer to?" I'm just like,
I'm just asking the air.
Exactly. It's just like everything. I'm like, I wonder why this. But and he's like, "Do you expect me to know these answers? I don't know." I'm like, "No, I'm just like that's my way of looking at the world is just like asking questions." So I think that kind of helped guided my journey into science. I went the biology route in college because I kind of loved biology in high school. Then I thought I had a brief moment of like, I have to be pre-med because everyone's pre-med. And then
Yes.
had the whole like kind of identity crisis when I was like kind of halfway through college. And I was like, wait a second, I don't want to be a doctor. Like, why am I doing this? And then realized, oh, I don't need to become a doctor. I can just study biology. Then towards the end of college, like in my senior year, I realized I really liked neuroscience. But it was at that point, it was too late to switch my major to neuro.
Yeah.
So then I was like, okay, let me try to find a job in neuroscience to make sure I really like it. So after college, I worked in a neuroscience lab. And then I was like, okay, I like it enough. I want to go get that little PhD.
Just a little PhD. Just a little bit. Just a side of PhD.
Just a little side of PhD. And yeah, I was really lucky to get into a program here in the city because the thing about me is that like I really wanted a PhD, but I knew I wanted to stay in New York City because I was already starting to do comedy and like things like that. And I felt like kind of New York was the home to that. And then 6 years later, I defended and here I am.
6 years later, oh my goodness. Just casual 6 years later.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Catching up here in the chat here. Kelly says same. Egyptologist is also a good word.
Yeah.
Chris Olson's a fan of paleontology. Nuclear Eagle Fox calling you out. I don't want to be a doctor, and yet.
Yeah, I'm a doctor now.
And I can relate to this. I started also in the biological sciences. I was on my way pre-med as well with myology, which is the study of muscles.
Yes.
And I also was halfway, had an identity crisis with it. Like I think it was specifically I was titrating. I was titrating a solution, and I could not imagine the next 8 years of my life like that in a lab. I got really upset about it. And also it just came at a time when I also was thinking about, well, what if I still worked with sports? Because I specifically was studying runners and their legs. Studying people's legs for a long time. I wrote this whole thing on the quadriceps femori and different types of runners.
Oh, wow.
But I also thought, oh, what if I was an industrial designer and designed shoes, and maybe a biological degree will help me make decisions about design and helping people run better. And then I learned about like labor and Nike and sweatshops, and it just sort of broke my brain.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck it, I'm an English major now, I'm leaving.
Well,
here we are.
I wonder, do you think that any of that study of muscles helped with like when you're using meats?
Yes. It is a little morbid to think about it in that way, but yes, absolutely, muscle composition. does help me in cooking, especially with beef. Um,
Yeah.
and understanding fat distribution and toughness and contraction. Those are all things that I still use to this day, but in a different way. A little fucked up,
And
a
hey,
little weird.
it works. It's
Yeah.
interesting that you were titrating and you were like, I can't do this every day only because I find that the closest thing I can get, so I really love being at the bench and being in the lab. And that's part of like something I really did love about science. I didn't love everything else that came with it, like the culture and like, how you have to act in order to like stay in
And
academia and all that,
funding and
funding. And then the other option was like pharma, and I, didn't want to go there. But anyway, the closest thing I can get to being in the lab is when I'm baking.
that's so cute.
But it's like when I'm cooking and I'm measuring things out and I'm like, I have to make the protocol in my head. Part of what I liked about being on the bench was like, okay, I have a day's worth of protocol ahead. How do I time everything to be the most efficient? And like when this is incubating, I can cut that. I'm not cutting things in the lab, but like I can pipette that. But it's similar.
Same order of operations, actually. And it kind of speaks to why I'm more of a savory chef and not much of a baker, but you are.
Yeah, maybe really that's cool. It. Yeah.
I love that. Ava says, I love how relatable this is. I started with chemistry and then pivoted to animation and teaching. Yeah, okay, what's up? Chris agrees that lab stuff is so dry. That's why you like ecology, because you get to go outside sometimes.
Yes.
I have a friend who's a postdoc here at Columbia who gets to commute out to past the bridges out to the nature and gets to like spend days out there. It's kind of amazing. Schmas started as a bio major, but can't understand chemistry to save your life. So I had to switch. I was also not very good at the chemistry or OChem. That was the killer. OChem is what killed everybody in my school. My goodness.
OChem is when I had my moment of I don't want to be a doctor.
I don't want to be a doctor. Oh my gosh, I don't want to be a doctor. AON says started psychology, currently doing combo neuroscience philosophy. Excuse me. Trying to figure out where to get an advanced math and programming course for a PhD, maybe. Yo, you got a brain.
Absolutely.
You got patience and capacity for this. I salute you.
and neuroscience and philosophy go so well together. I think sometimes, I wish I got more philosophy in my studies, that kind of cognitive science end of the neuroscience realm.
Yeah, totally. I think that's very complimentary. Now, everybody in the chat, we have Dr. Shannon here. Do you have any questions when it comes to neuroscience and food? Like, I may have a couple questions, but I'd like everybody to get a shot to ask a question if you got some questions. Aowen says, I'm very, very far away from the cellular stuff Shannon has done, though. Oh, okay. So you're more.
But that's what's so amazing about neuroscience is that it runs, the gamut of like, my PhD was so like molecular, right? Because it was epigenetics. So it was like, to think of it as like genetics, really going down to the tiny molecules, but you can also but you could also go all the way out to like thinking about consciousness, which is like very far away from what I was looking at, but like it is all part of it.
Yeah. Kelly says, why brain do the broken thing? This is a legitimate question. Yeah. This is very
well, I have been thinking a lot about our brains in this pandemic.
Yes, you have. You've been doing a lot of reading.
Yeah, and I mean, it's hard. Our poor little brains. There's so much they're going through. There's, the chronic stress of living in a pandemic every day. And we have to remind ourselves that like we are in a chronic stress situation give ourselves grace. But there's also just like simple things that a lot of us are inside all the time. So we're not experiencing any kind of novelty, which our brains have really evolved to kind of love novelty, all animals really love exploring, and it's just like difficult to be inside all the time. We're not built to be indoors all the time.
No, we are not. No, we are not. And I thank you for answering what may have been a joke question, but in an earnest way. I mean, this is what we do, like we do think about these things, and it's been so funny to talk to you throughout the year because you specifically have been making yourself a little sick, staying up all night, reading all the stats and crunching the numbers. But I'm glad for it and hoping you are taking your rest. Like sometimes on the Slack, me and Mike are like, Shannon, have you slept? Have you gone outside?
I know. Well, I think it's been an interesting thing being a scientist in this pandemic. I mean, my PhD is in neuroscience, but it's also in biomedical science. So like that's the degree you get when you graduate from my program. And so it's been a feeling of like, one, I'm not a specialist in infectious disease. Like I can't really speak to the coronavirus, pandemic, but like I do know enough about science that I can like do research and like help like family and friends understand what's going on. So it's been a big place of like, what's my place and how do I help out? Because like I'm not specialized enough to like, be a talking head or an expert or like really like, share my thoughts on COVID as a scientist with the world, because there's limits to how much I know as a neuroscientist, but at the same time, I've been wanting to absorb all the information so I can share it with like close family and friends. Yeah. Exactly. So it's just.
Oh, we've got another question here from Nuclear Eagle Fox. Are nootropics and brain supplements effective or real in any way? I actually don't know that.
Great question. So yeah, I would say that everything, the better route when it comes to any kind of supplements or supplements that are like geared towards brain health, is to look at foods that have whatever in them that they exactly look to the source. You're always better off getting your kind of supplements from the foods themselves. Yeah. Plus, because in the US, the supplement industry doesn't necessarily need to prove any of its claims to the FDA.
It's not FDA regulated for some of it.
Exactly. Yeah. So I would say always look to the food. And I worry with some of those things that they're like a little bit predatory, because, cognitive health is something that's really difficult. It's affected by stress. It's affected by age. It's affected by sleep. Yes. And so all of us are looking to kind of better our cognitive health. So the best things that you can do are like, try to get as much sleep as you can. Try to get that 60 minutes of like walking or exercising a day. Just like eating really like, a well-balanced diet. Those are better off. Those will help you more than probably the supplements will.
Yeah, we got some feedback in the chat from Chris. God, I'm glad there are people like you that actually love to do the molecular level stuff. Hufflepunk says social health is almost equally important to physical health in terms of health outcomes too. True.
Absolutely.
Eowyn, brain fine, world broken. Agreed. Ava says we need an enrichment team. Yes. Kelly, I'm trying to find my enrichment because I'm treating myself like a zoo animal. Same. Yeah. Oh, Schmoss resumed hydrate. I don't know, Shannon, if you have your water near you, but we got some channel points here in the chat. And we're going to hydrate for you. Thank you for checking on us, Schmoss.
I needed that.
Thank you. Okay, so we got a two-parter here, both from Gwem and Nuclear Eagle Fox. So it's a follow-up to that question. What foods are good for brain health? And then Gwem has another question. What are good foods for positive mood?
Ooh, good question.
Two-parter.
They're probably both related, foods that are good for brain health and also for like mental health reasons. One thing that has been looked at a lot is omega-3 fatty acids. So those are like, I think it's called DHA is one of them. And that is something that is really important in your brain. Sorry, my heater's
That's
going
okay. Me
off.
too. My heater whistles also.
It's very loud. And our brains aren't, or our bodies aren't so good at synthesizing some of these fatty acids, so we have to get it from dietary sources. So there is some interesting research looking into like if you can like increase, again, you can always take a supplement, but it's always better to like if you can increase your intake of fishes, and I think it's in some nuts and stuff like that, and get them
Oils,
from that source.
Good oils.
Good oils, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. That's so helpful. And I actually had a general question. So I didn't research this, but there are some disagreements in the food world about where digestion starts.
Oh.
It's a very complicated thing. So there are some people who believe that digestion starts when you see something, that it's visual confirmation, which sets off the salivary amylase in your mouth. So you just start to drool. And what that does is getting your mouth ready and lubricated for incoming food. So the salivary amylase is for breaking down and helping you as you masticate and emulsify the pulpy stuff so that it can go down easier. Now, so there are people who believe that's where digestion starts, seeing something and you start drooling. Or is it digestion starts when you physically put the thing in your mouth? We don't know.
This is my thought from a neuroscientist perspective. Is we know so much about our kind of eating behavior, and like the flavor of food and things like that will start so far away from when you actually eat the food, right? So it'll start when you're
looking at Instagram.
Right, that is exactly what I was going to say. When you're looking at Instagram and you're seeing pictures of food on your phone, like that can actually change or studies have shown that it may actually change your like food intake behavior. So like you might not be hungry, but you see a picture of really good food on Instagram, you're more likely to go into your cabinet and go grab something to eat. Even though that like it's basically setting off that kind of signaling cascade to say like, hey, it's time to go, it's time to eat.
It's time.
Which our brains are really good at, because it's necessary that we eat, and we've evolved to eat and find food rewarding. And so because of that, there are so many brain regions involved in eating. I mean, also the fact that the brain, consumes like 25% of the energy that you consume is consumed by your brain.
I didn't know. 25%?
25%. So and that's for adults. When you're a baby,
a lot more.
Almost like I think I've heard like 2/3. Basically you're just like a little, you don't need any kind of energy anywhere. You're just like a brain.
That's hilarious.
You need so much energy for your brain to function properly. So, it makes sense that you've evolved to be just like kind of obsessed with food and obsessed with food.
I love that. Ava says, do you have to see the food? I was taught a trick for public speaking where if your mouth is too dry from nerves, just to imagine a lemon slice in your mouth. Wow.
Oh.
Taste memory.
Yeah, I mean, that is really cool. Well, it's obviously not just sight, because we know that like flavor is such a multi-sensory experience. I'm sure you know this much better than I do, Jen, of just like how it matters not only what you're smelling, what you're physically tasting, the texture of it, visually what it looks like, but also like maybe the sounds around you or your mood, or like all these different, or like
factors,
what you're thinking about. Like I saw that there was one study where if you think about someone you love while you're eating something, the food may taste sweeter, right?
Ooh.
So like all these things affect, our kind of digestive appetite system. So like, yeah, I totally can imagine that happening.
That's amazing. Wow. We have an interruption here. Hufflepunks beat out Gwem. Gwem is usually the one that redeems Taste Test. We have an interruption here. So for those of you that don't know, you've been gathering channel points in the chat as you've been here and watching the show. And you can redeem them for unlocking my egg emotes. Can we get some eggs in the chat, by the way? We haven't done that today. Please, if you've got them, show them off. Let's get some eggs in the chat. But there are also things that you can redeem, like hydrate, like making sure that me and my guest are well hydrated. You can check on our posture. But also there is Taste Test, which is an interruption where I will grab a random condiment from my fridge and eat a spoonful and tell you about it. Thanks for the eggs in the chat, everybody. And today's random condiment is a motherfucker. It's Cambodian chili pickle.
Ooh.
Handmade by my friend Char. She does a wonderful Cambodian pop-up out of Bushwick. She has an Instagram handle, Krung Cambodia, and you can order from her on weekends. I believe that she was popping up at Mad Tropical in Bushwick.
Oh, cool.
But this is a special pickle because her mother grows all of the vegetables in South Carolina. She drives all the way down, goes and cooks with her mother, learns a recipe, and comes back to Brooklyn with all of this produce. And then so she made with her mother this incredibly thick
Yes.
chili pickle. So it's a little bit more like a relish because it is thick and chopped up. So it's not like a hot sauce, but it is fermented. So it's more on the pickly side of things than my mouth is watering. It's not just because I'm hungry and that there's something appetizing, but it's also fear. Because this is just pure bird chili. Like these have not been dried. They are the pure capsaicin in here. So I'm gonna have that much. Screw you, Hufflepuff. And it sucks because like I have so many random things in my fridge, and I grabbed this one. I wait for the day we get to the pot hot sauce.
Yes.
It's so good. But it's so spicy. My ears are burning.
It's hot.
Thank you for redeeming your taste test today.
I need a gif of all these faces that Jenn.
You can see I'm turning red. My nose is red. My cheeks are getting really pink. My ears, the insides of my ears are burning.
Oh.
But I can handle it.
And you know what's going on in your brain? You're probably getting a little bit of that activation of your HPA axis. You're probably getting a little bit of jolt of adrenaline.
Yes.
Probably more awake.
Yes, that was very awakening. I had a friend who got me into taking shots of cayenne pepper with orange juice in the mornings.
Oh.
It's just a little like point, like a little knife point of cayenne pepper in some orange juice, shake it up, take a shot, and you can feel it like radiate from your chest.
I've heard of that, of like that's a way of waking up. It's just like take a bite of a really hot pepper or something like that. And just
Oh, Schmoss asks, doesn't hot sauce stimulate endorphin production too, or spicy stuff in general?
So like spicy is kind of it's activating a pain receptor, right? So anytime a pain receptor, or not anytime, but like when your pain receptors get activated, that's also going to activate your endogenous pain killing system, which is in, your body's really good at recovering from pain by releasing feel-good molecules known as endorphins.
Getting those right now. I've mentioned this several times, but I used to judge the New York Hot Sauce Expo, and it's actually coming back this fall.
Ooh.
Going to be in Greenpoint. But we went through a whole battery of testing. So I did a taste testing of the jalapeno category, which is friendly and nice. The Jamaican / fruit category, which is very tangy, like things that you would get on like doubles in Bed-Stuy, really good. But they had this requirement for everybody that was there because there's not enough data for the Carolina Reaper category and the X pepper. So everyone had to participate as far as you could in the Carolina Reaper category.
Wow.
I got to 6 of 8 and then I tapped out. And I just started spraying like whipped cream into my mouth. I was just like, fuck this. And I walked out euphoric.
Yeah.
That train ride, actually, I walked most of the way home because I was just enjoying outside so much. And just like the breeze was like tickling my cheeks. And I was like, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So if we need a little boost, just take a couple mouthfuls of some really hot.
Yeah.
Hot sauce.
Catch it up here in the chat. Kelly, it says, does not seem like Hufflepunk's fault. True, it was my own fault because I have these things in my house. On a scale of 1 to 10, I would say that spice level was a 6. I can handle probably an 8. I'm already calmed down. We have another question from Nuclear Eagle Fox. How does spiciness work with respect to the brain? Why do some people like it? Why does it feel hot? I can answer some of that. I know that it's like a pleasure thing for some people. Like I just mentioned that I felt euphoric. There are people who chase that feeling. And to sustain it is to keep eating the hot sauce. And the thing is, once you've had a whole evening of hot sauce, it starts to plateau on your tongue. And you need to just keep eating it to keep that feeling, to keep that buzz going. So it is probably the most illegal drug that you can have.
Yeah. And I think it's pretty interesting because I can't think of another species besides humans that like has this kind of pleasure and pain kind of thing. Like most animals, if you were going to give it the hotness probably evolved to keep animals from eating it. Well, yeah, we like it. We say, bring on the spice.
Yeah. Let me see. We have someone in the chat, Christian Sour Patch. Shannon, hi, I got a joke for you. Do you have a joke? Please tell us the joke. And if it's gonna make me mad, don't do the joke.
Right.
I've had a few people whisper to me here on Twitch and be like, can I ask you a personal question? I'm like, no. you shouldn't ask me a personal question. I don't know you. But if you have a good joke, please do share with us. We are running close to the end of time, but I want to get to the fun portion of the end of the show. If you do have any more additional questions for Shannon's Twitter is Showdell. And I'm sorry, I'm volunteering you for this. But if you have any follow-up discussion, you can find us also in the Fun City Discord. We are at patreon.com/FunCityVentures. But moving on to our last segment of the show, let's pretend we're on the show Chopped. If you don't know this TV show, there is a basket with 4 mystery ingredients in it, and chefs have to use them to make a dish. In our case, you, the chat, will tell us what's in the basket. So chat, please shout out an ingredient for us to put in there, and the first 4 will be the ones that we use. There are no wrong answers. This is just an exercise for us to think about the possibility of all of our ingredients and how far can they go? Maybe it will give you some good ideas for dinner tonight. I'll try to go through each of the ingredients individually, giving you some tips so that everybody knows what you're working with, but feel free to just start shouting out how you'd combine 2, 3, or all 4 of the ingredients. Imagine that you have a basic pantry, milk, eggs, that kind of stuff, and all the tools and time that you need, not, 30 minutes like you would on Chopped. But remember, just feature the things you have in the basket. So chat, let's go. We've got, oh no, all 5 Carolina Reapers in this basket. No, screw you. No, 1 Carolina Reaper is in the basket. Acorn Squash, lamb cubes, marshmallow fluff. Damn. Not fast enough, everyone else. All right, so our first 4 ingredients were a Carolina Reaper, acorn squash, lamb cubes, and marshmallow fluff. Carolina Reaper is one of the hottest peppers in the world. I don't remember how many Scovilles it is, but it is several 100,000, I believe.
Wow.
It has recently, I say recently, I mean a year ago, has been surpassed in spice level by the X pepper, which has been cultivated in the US by some crazy ass farmer. Yeah, the X pepper is nothing to be messed with. But if you're going to work with Carolina Reaper and serve it to other people, just know that you should be diluting it. So that means you are making a tincture, you are soaking it in cream, you are making an olive oil or a pesto. You just need to think dilution, dilution, dilution. 1 Carolina pepper can make a whole pot of chili really, really spicy. I would say that's a medium at an Asian restaurant. Like a Thai restaurant, I would say that's a medium. If you dilute it in a whole Dutch oven.
Oh, wow.
So that's how powerful it is.
Whoa.
Yes. Acorn
Okay.
squash. Let's see. You can roast that. You can poach it. You can boil it. Just know that it has a very hard outside exterior. The inside, once cooked, it can become very, very pasty. It can whip. It can also be baked in a sweet way. You can use it in pie. You can use it in empanadas, in baked goods. So think that way. If you're doing pumpkin pie, maybe acorn squash pie, that kind of stuff. Lamb cubes, specifically the cube shape, are great for kebabs. They are also great if they are prime grade, if they're like safe, and you know where you got them. You could do raw preparation or lightly cooked preparation if you slice them very thinly. But just know that they benefit from some grilling. They love a little char. They can be really fatty, and they can have a little bit of a sheepy taste. I know that some people don't like lamb, but one way to combat that is to marinate it very nicely, either in a citrus-based marinade or in yogurt, if you want to go Indian style. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, the last ingredient, marshmallow fluff. God damn. We always have.
This is such a chopped basket because there's always something like that in it.
Yeah, so marshmallow fluff is the jarred stuff. So generally marshmallow is made by whipping gelatin, a bloomed gelatin, with a hot sugar syrup. So marshmallow fluff just has not set, or it has a destabilizer so it stays in that spreadable aerated form. Usually when you whip the gelatin, you set it in a pan and let it cool, and that's how you get the marshmallow texture. But fluff has additional corn syrup in it, which makes it that very specific texture. But so it's spreadable, but also can be a binder. It can be used in fudge. It can be a topping. It can still be torched, but just not as well as you would with a marshmallow. So those are all 4 ingredients. That was very fast because we don't have a lot more time. So everybody, if you've got ideas, just start shouting them out. How would you combine a Carolina Reaper, an acorn squash, lamb cubes, and marshmallow fluff? Shannon, have you been thinking about anything?
I have, but I'm laughing at Eva saying marshmallow fluff, but very spicy.
I mean, yes, I would eat it. Oh my God,
Okay.
AON did the research. 1,500,069,300 on the Scoville scale.
Oh, wow.
Holy shit.
Okay.
That's real hot.
So this is where I went. I saw the lamb cubes and I thought, okay, maybe we could use the hot sauce, like a tiny drop in like a marinade for the lamb cubes. Are the lamb cubes cooked? I don't know.
You can or you can't, whatever you want.
Okay. Asking you like it's real, like it's coming in my basket.
No.
And then I was thinking maybe a savory pie where I cook the acorn squash and kind of use the insides in making the dough. And then the marshmallow fluff is getting thrown in the trash.
It's okay. You don't have to use all four. It's just an exercise. It's just an exercise, friends. One way that I like to approach this is to think about something you already know how to make and then just make a swap.
Oh, yeah.
So that you can just start easy, like a sandwich or a soup.
It's true.
But pie, I think an acorn squash pie, like a pot pie with the lamb, would be so good if we made like a Carolina Reaper harissa paste. So harissa paste is
Ooh.
like a fermented pepper sauce, but we could use Carolina Reaper in that and just use a little drop.
A little tiny.
And what was the other ingredient? Marshmallow fluff. Fuck. Yeah, okay. What if we diluted the marshmallow fluff like way the hell down to its essential corn syrup, which could be part of a marinade with some orange and limes, with the lamb cube and a little bit of the pepper. We just do some little cute kebabis, a little yakitori.
That is smart. That's smart.
Yeah. Okay. Shmas there's a cooking technique where you put sugar in oil to melt it into a caramel really fast, and then put meats and veggies in the wok and stir fry for an extra brown and caramelly flavor. I wonder if you could use the fluff as the sugar and then try to fry the squash and lamb for a tasty cube seasoned with a bunch of warm spices and the Reaper to punch it up. Shmas, always punching up. That is so good.
Yes, that's cool.
You are
love that.
Right. I don't know the name of the technique, but we do use that in the Philippines for turon. So turon is a plantain and jackfruit egg roll that we fry, and then we throw a little sugar into the oil and it will caramelize on the outside of the egg roll. So what if we did an acorn squash marshmallow fluff egg roll like that? Wow. These are all
delicious.
Good ideas, everybody. Please keep spitting ideas. But Shannon, I know I got to let you go soon. Will you please tell people, while I go get the plug for my computer, will you tell people how to follow you online?
Sure. You can follow me on Twitter at Sourdough. You can follow me on Instagram also at Sourdough, SHODELL. If you're on TikTok, I am there as well. You can follow me at Shannon.PhD, like the degree. I do a lot of science videos on there. You can listen to Fun City Ventures and listen to both Jenn and I have fun.
Yes, it's true. It's so true. I'm so glad that you're here. I'm going to read a last couple more of these ideas before we go away. Chris is asking, can you substitute the yogurt in a kebab with the fluff? Have never had fluff, so I have no idea what it tastes like. It's just super sweet. I would dilute it with the yogurt probably. And it's just really sugary. Nuclear Eagle Fox says, I think I would make some kind of dipping sauce with the fluff and Reaper. Yes, you could. And then dip the squash and lamb in it. Not sure the heat would vibe with the squash, though. I think squash would be a shock absorber when it comes to this stuff. Gwen asks, why would you use a super hot chili rather than normal chili like a Scotch bonnet? Because it was in the basket. I don't know. Some people really love to chase the danger of how hot it is. And if you do have an extract, using one drop is pretty economical versus getting fresh stuff all the time. So you could have it out of season if you really wanted to. But yes, this is a legitimate question. People do chase after the thrill of a really, really spicy thing. Yeah. Nuclear Eagle Fox. Actually, my mom does this with me. Mixes fluff with cream cheese for a dip used for fruit. Oh, yeah, nice. Yeah. Strawberries specifically. These are all amazing ideas. Thank you, everybody, for playing. Thank you, Shannon, for spending time with me today. And I know we spent all yesterday recording together, and then you spend a whole nother evening with me again. Yay.
It's been a joy.
You like me.
I do.
But thank you, everybody. We'll be back next week. It is the anniversary show of Attack the Pantry. We're going to do a clips highlight show in the beginning, and then we're going to have a little bit of a happy hour with some previous guests. And Shannon, you are invited as well if you are free.
Yay. Awesome.
But yes, thank you everybody. Please make sure to tag me in your cooking photos at Ranwiches, both on Instagram and Twitter. And we will see you next week, Wednesday at 5 p.m. Eastern here on Attack the Pantry. Pew, pew, pew.